personal issue to deal with you. I had talked about it the other day in Indiana. You guys were splitting a cookie skillet with ice cream, 2 spoons. If you're going to be a big guy, you got to commit and get your own order there. Come on, what are we doing here? What are we doing, Paul?
You were splitting 2 spoons? What are you giggling about?
Because I'm just thinking of how ridiculous it was that we shared that stupid
Yeah, we were ahead of our time in some places.
We probably also had, 10 beers each in us. And
Somehow you ended up in the same hotel room at the end of the night.
Oh, is this my key?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
That's not a pillow.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Fueled by Duncan.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Thursday here at Gillette Stadium. If you joined us right away, you heard Bill Belichick. Mac Jones is going to be starting. We knew that yesterday because of a report by Field Yates. He's one of the sources here, a go-to distributor of information, at times, family friend. But anyway, we knew yesterday that Mac Jones is going to be starting, as we suspected, and as we hoped, the information would get out earlier, this week.
And when Bill kept saying yesterday, we'll see how it goes, I think that you and I talked about it on the show yesterday. This is kind of how we felt. I think he's just making sure physically he's okay after practice, and then he'll let it out there. So I'm happy about it. I didn't think the identity of which one he picked was the most important part, but I did think it was important that he identified one to go with. Now,
I'm sure it's important to Mac.
Oh, no. Obviously, it's important to the two guys,
kidding.
but I wanted it to be Mac. I said yesterday, that would have been my pick, but I do think it's important that the team is on the same page and they move forward. I would have liked to have heard him today be a little stronger with it, kind of in that Brady mold from 2001. Not that Mac Jones has played to that level, as Alex walks in, but just kind of like, well, he is our starting quarterback.
Right.
He's ready to go. I mean, he said clearly he's ready to go physically. So I would have liked to have seen maybe a little bit of a stronger commitment moving forward. Like the whole foreseeable future kind of thing.
Yeah. We got a little insight into the psyche of Bill today.
Did we?
Yeah.
I always like when you explain things to me.
There was a moment
when he mansplains.
There was a moment when one of the writers, I don't know who it was just simply trying to get information. Bill goes, "Look, you're not going to trap me." In Bill's mind, the question was in order to trap him. It really wasn't. It's just to get information.
Right.
But that's how Bill is thinking, is that they're trying to trap me. They're not.
They're out to get me.
Yeah, they're not.
Phil Perry.
They're just trying to get info.
Yeah.
That's it. And so I think we got a little insight there into Bill's psyche when it comes to dealing with the press.
Yeah, and like I said, I like this turn of events. I like the fact that we know now, and it has nothing to do with trying to keep the identity, a secret for the other team and all that stuff that always, comes up at these times. I just like the fact that Bill let it out there yesterday, and he didn't back away from it today when asked about it. And we go forward. I think that's the only thing you can do. You got to pick up the pieces and move forward.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it was turning into a situation.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that a lot of people in the media said it wasn't a situation, but it is, still is, and certainly was, leading in. And if it wasn't anything to worry about, you wouldn't hear Bill and Alex. You were at the press conference, so you were actually there to hear the questions and whatnot. Fred and I were listening. So many parsing of words and where we are now, as opposed, there's no commitment here beyond the absolute present.
Yeah.
Mac made it through practice yesterday, fully ready to go. He's physically ready to go and up to speed. But, nothing about he's our quarterback the rest of the way. I think that's what it is, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Bottom line, he's not as certain about Mac in year 2 as he was in Brady's first
right.
year.
Nor should he be, but, I was just –
yeah.
There's back and forth. There are things going on. It's not just a foregone conclusion that Mac is the quarterback.
Well, the quote you guys just brought up, the funniest part of it to me was Bill saying, "Don't try to trap me into something that's going to happen in the future."
Right.
So, totally leaving the future open-ended. We're focused on today, the Jets, Mac's here, and then it was very much just I don't know. You're right. Like when it was Brady, it was like a question about the starter going forward would just be scoffed at. And now he's like, yeah, no, don't trap me.
Right.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future.
I mean, as recently as 2 years ago, a question about the quarterback was Cam Newton is the quarterback.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
There was no controversy 2 years ago because Cam Newton was unequivocally the starting quarterback because Bill said so.
Right.
And he's not saying that. Like, Mac Jones is starting Sunday. He's
Right.
going to be ready to go against the
He's
Jets.
unequivocally the quarterback
Yeah.
on Sunday.
I think that he is the quarterback. You know, I think he'll be the quarterback for the future. But will you be surprised if, you know, maybe things don't improve dramatically for Mac Jones on Sunday and they lose to the Jets, that we're in the same situation next week?
No.
All the questions are about who's starting at quarterback?
No, they're going to come up again if Mac doesn't play well and they lose.
Right.
Yeah.
Whereas in the past, the guy was the quarterback, win, lose, or draw.
Yeah. Here's to Mac playing well and winning.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's how you and I feel.
Yeah. What's up, Alex?
Not too much. How have you guys been managing?
Oh, without
this
you?
week? Without me? Without Mike?
Well, Mike's still under the weather. He's on the injury report.
He's
did
gotta
not participate.
He's got to suck it up. I mean, what are we doing here? We're
Has
in
he
game
called
week. It's the
in
middle
or
of the
anything?
season.
No.
Wow.
Nothing.
he
He
must
did
be
give me his
feeling
picks.
it.
He sent his picks in.
Oh, that's good.
We have that.
So we'll be able to rifle through picks now because he takes a little time sometimes, to decide.
Wow, taking shots at how long it
He's
takes.
not
Maybe
even
you
here.
should take. Maybe you should take a little more time
Oh,
based on your record,
another bad week for me.
or a week. I mean, it depends on how you look at
Oh,
it. Oh,
It's just your baseline now.
yeah.
Only up from here.
I'm simpatico with the Patriots.
So I
as
have-
they go, so do I.
I have a little thing that's still bugging me a little bit, and it's, Evan, I think, will be coming by after practice, right? He'll give us the practice
I
update,
hope so.
right?
Yes,
So
confirmed. He
well,
told me he is.
So, Evan, we talked about, some of the subtle differences in play calling, when one guy's in the game to the other. And, I think Evan made a lot of good points with that. There's still this groundswell of sabotage to Mac.
Yeah. I heard, not just Greg Bedard, he's on board with that, but, national people.
There are
Right,
conspiracy theories.
Orlovsky
Yes.
and Chris Sims. Now, I do find it funny. Chris Sims, a guy who we never ever listened to, never took seriously since he left the organization several years ago. Now all of a sudden he's a fact. That's fact. So Chris Sims says it, so it's important. But I'm not telling you about the different plays. I think it makes sense to have different plays for different players. You accentuate strengths and weaknesses, whatnot, based on who's actually playing. But you're telling me that Matt Patricia and Joe Judge have it out for Mac Jones.
That's what they're
That's
implying.
what they're not implying it. They're coming out and saying it.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry if I can't get on board with that. I can't.
I that would be fireable. If I was Robert Kraft and I found out that my quarterback's coach and offensive coordinator were purposely putting a first round, forget about where he's drafted, but he was a first round pick in jeopardy. You're gone.
It's
out.
just inconceivable.
Out. I don't need you.
To me,
Patricia
it's
is like
that's a perfect word.
With a fan base, at least, I don't know about internally. Obviously, he's in good standing internally because he's here. But with the fan base, that's the easiest low-hanging fruit target for people to go after. So I don't see Patricia trying to further sabotage himself by losing games or not putting the offense in what he thinks is the best position to win.
I agree. It's inconceivable. It's because to do that, these coaches know how hard it is on these players. They're playing a sport that these coaches wanted to be good at, but most of them weren't. So they know
that
how.
was kind of mean.
But it's true, right? Those who teach.
Yeah.
Those who can't teach Jim.
Oh.
No.
I thought it was
really?
just those who can't teach.
Right. No, those.
But he took it to a whole nasty level.
Shout out to the phys ed teachers.
Those who can't teach Jim.
Right. Those who can't teach. Those who can't teach Jim. But a lot of these coaches wanted to be players and played at a certain level, but were never as good at. And they know how hard it is.
Not as
it's
genetically
borderline.
gifted.
It would be borderline evil for a coach to do that to a player.
And it's
that's why
self-sabotage, too.
I think it's right. I think it doesn't make sense, and I think people can speculate all they will, but they're just trying to make headlines. I can't believe that would happen
Well, the other part is it's sort of letting Mac Jones off the hook, isn't it? Like, they're sabotaging him.
Now, I will
It
say,
has nothing to do with the fact that Mac Jones is not protecting the football. Like, I can be sympathetic with Mac Jones because I think he's been sort of targeted in a little.
yeah.
I thought the way they handled Monday night was unfair to Mac Jones. And so that I'll give him some credit. But I'm not giving him credit for throwing the interception when he's in there.
Right. But I will say this. There was a defensive lineman that used to play with the Patriots pre-dynasty who told me, this is not hearsay, told me one-on-one that a certain defensive line coach told him, if you make the Pro Bowl and you get your bonus, unless you give me a cut of that, I'm going to limit your snaps.
Should I say it out loud?
No.
Okay.
But, so
I have a guess.
Different game.
I have a guess.
20 years
it's
ago.
a
I have a
bit
guess for
different.
both guys.
And there's
Yeah.
a paper trail with everything you do now. You can't just tell someone
Right.
something face to face.
right.
with
And if I'm a head
players
coach,
on
I'm like,
social media,
how come
that would
so and
never
so's
fly
not in
today.
the game?
But I
better
I'm just
have
saying,
a good
like,
excuse.
to say that Mac is being sabotaged by the play calling allows him to be off the hook for not playing well.
Right.
Like, why is it that on the second play of the game, the first pass that he attempted the other night, he throws a 12-yard out over the head of the receiver,
Yeah.
who was open?
Right.
Like, is that because Matt Patricia called a 12-yard out and he's trying to make him look bad?
No, and I think you said it right. Like, different players, different quarterbacks are good at different things, so you call different plays.
Right.
Now, the thing about I'll do a Paul and I'll argue against myself here. What they've been calling for Mac hasn't been working, and they don't seem to have changed that yet. But they only had
Right.
3 series.
Right.
I mean,
Well,
we really
yeah.
didn't have a chance to see anything.
And I would agree with that. I would start all of my analysis of Mac Jones by saying I don't think Mac Jones has played very well in 2022. I'm not trying to be a Mac apologist. People will say, "Oh, he's doing the Felger thing. He's being a contrarian." He was critical of Mac Jones all year last year when he played well. Now that everybody's against him, he's trying to defend him, and that's not what I'm trying to do. Because I don't think Mac Jones.
you wouldn't defend any Patriot.
But I don't think he's played well. Do you think he's played well?
No.
Yeah, and
He's had moments.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the Baltimore, the first 2.5 quarters
Yeah.
against Baltimore, I think he did have some moments. But I think for the most part this year he's been sporadic.
We haven't seen
and
a progress.
and too many turnovers.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Now-
It's just the turnover. Like, even when there's a good drive that he's had, it's just marred in our memory because of a turnover,
Right.
a penalty, you name it.
Yeah.
Now, but I also look at it and say, yeah, like Dan Orlovsky says, I think he had a tweet. I challenged them to call the same plays. I know Mac Jones can run those plays. I saw him do it all last year.
Yeah.
And I know that offense will only get you so far. That offense will only allow you to beat bad teams.
Right. Well,
So
could have
you know,
used that against the Bears.
Yeah, I got to step out for a quick second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah. So no, but like Paul said, this is now taken on a national narrative. You
Yeah.
know, and I just it, like you said, it's inconceivable that any coach would do that to one of their players because. Even if you hate the player, and I'm sure everyone's human, I'm sure there's personality conflicts on teams and coaches don't like players, vice versa, but you're also hurting the rest of the team.
Yeah,
by
and
doing
yourself.
that.
Like,
Yeah.
Patricia has been the media scapegoat since before the preseason,
Right,
even.
right.
So it's like,
That's not good
that's
for
the one
anyone.
question I want to ask is, how does this benefit to anyone that has that conspiracy theory? Where does Patricia win in this if he's sacrificing this integrity, potentially, hypothetically?
And again, I don't really understand. That was a quick step out. I don't really understand why, to Alex's point, Matt Patricia wants Mac Jones to fail. Like, what's in it for Matt Patricia?
Right.
If that happens.
Right.
And again, regardless of the play call, isn't the idea when you call the play, the 11 guys on the field, isn't the idea to execute it
Yeah.
to the best of your ability? And this is where, like, I'm not letting Mac Jones off the hook. I think he has 7 turnovers. Now, I'd argue that the guy who replaced him, doing all the safe plays, has 6 turnovers and roughly the same amount of play time now.
Yep. 3 games.
Right?
Yeah.
One guy has 6 picks and a fumble. The other guy has, whatever it is, 3 picks and 3 fumbles.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of turnovers. The biggest problem right now with the Patriots offense is they cannot protect the football. and I'm going to do an unprecedented back-to-back weeks. I'm going to use the same key.
Damn it!
This week.
I forgot to fill out Mike's roundtable.
You still have time.
Darn.
I just haven't
that
had
goes
a
out
chance.
tomorrow.
I saw the email and I
Protect the ball.
Very busy.
Yeah.
We should mention, and it's just a report, and who knows what the sources are and why they gave him the info. But Doug Kide is reporting that 4 receivers and 2 other players Patriots have been getting trade calls for.
Well, everybody's had the receivers. Phil Perry, I think, was first on the receivers.
Yeah,
and
but
he was the first to include Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
That people are calling on Jacoby Myers.
But
Doug, I think, had Damian Harris in there as well.
And Jabril Peppers.
And Jabril Peppers, and I hadn't seen those 2 names.
Yeah.
I mean,
but you know,
I'd add those 2 to the list.
Like, if I was a reporter and I got that call, it's probably, like, depending on who's calling. Like, if it's a Patriots source, I'm like, are you just using me to drum up interest here? You know, like telling other teams that these guys are available? You know, like, I would question, why are you telling me this?
Well, I'll tell you. Like, do you want me to give you, like, 100 years ago, I used to be doing this stuff. Right. We were banging the drum, and, when I worked at the Herald, and then, when I started here, I was calling the agents and trying to work sources and whatnot. We're more analytical now than we were way back then. But I'll tell you what, I mean, Jabril Peppers, last year of his contract. Damian Harris, last year of his contract. Jacoby Myers, last year of his contract. So what is it in the best interest of their representation to do?
Yeah.
They're highly sought after, these guys.
Right.
They're going to be free agents next year, but people don't want to wait for them to be free agents. So,
right.
Hey, Alex. I don't know. David Cantor here, agent for Jacoby Myers. Yeah, a lot of interest. Alex. You should get the Patriots getting a lot of calls on my client. Like, that's how it works.
Yeah.
They're talking to agents, and the agents are telling them, "Oh yeah, they're getting calls." But the team doesn't want to move on from them because the team likes what they have. Team likes what they've seen in the production. But a lot of people are interested in Jabril Peppers, Damian Harris, all guys in the last year of their contract. It makes sense.
Marketing 101. Create a scarcity. And
so now around the league, people are looking at it. Maybe someone in Carolina is looking at that and saying, "Oh, wow, Jabril Peppers, he's having a good year up in New England, huh?" Now, people are chasing after him.
Now, could the other reason to do that would be to cause unrest with the Patriots?
No. What is the unrest?
Like,
who would be doing that?
Like other teams.
Whose motive?
Yeah, other teams are saying, I heard that the Patriots are getting calls on all these players.
I don't see how that causes unrest, though.
Well, players are like, oh, they're going to trade me, that type of thing. It starts to cast, I used a long time ago, back when you were probably before the Herald, I used to be an editor of a recruiting magazine for HR. And this one professional recruiter told me that he would call the R&D department of a high-tech company on Friday, and he'd get somebody on the phone in the department and say, "Man, I was looking at the salaries in your department, and boy, they're all over the charts." He goes, "By Monday, I'd be able to recruit anybody I wanted out of there because everybody's now talking about where do I fall on the chart." So they cause unrest among.
Yeah, I just don't think that the agents are looking to cause unrest.
No, I'm not saying the agents.
Teams aren't talking to. I don't want to be disrespectful, but teams aren't talking to the people in question. I'm sorry.
No, what the writers could be talking to GMs.
Yeah, they're not. Not
you don't think
one.
so?
Not that one.
Not here. I'm talking about other teams' GMs.
I'm talking about the writers that are reporting it.
Oh, Paul's disdain for the local media.
Well, he's not local anymore.
Who do you hate more, the fans or the media?
He's not local.
I know, right?
Media by far. But my point is, a guy like Isaiah Wynn, who's constantly, he gets moved to right tackle, his name is constantly brought up. Yeah, that's probably wearing on him a little bit. But for a guy like Jabril Peppers, it's a 1-year rental. He's trying to increase his value. So he's probably on board with it. He's fine with it.
Yeah.
So there's
guys
are in different positions.
There's different angles.
My guess is, in general, and I'm not telling you what you're saying never happens. I'm sure it does. But my guess is, for the most part, when you hear, 6 names are brought up, that's to me an example of the writers are talking to agents, and the agents are saying, "Oh yeah, lot of interest in my client."
Right.
A lot of interest. Because it serves their clients well to be brought up like that.
Yeah.
Especially if they know they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Whereas I think Isaiah Wynn might be one of those guys that'd be like, oh, I don't know.
Do you think there's
Maybe
any
I
chance
am going somewhere?
If the Patriots lose this game and look bad doing it, do you think the Patriots could become sellers and say, you know
I
what?
think there's a much bigger chance of them selling than buying it.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Win, lose, or draw Sunday.
Well, if they go out and kick butt, maybe, okay, there's a piece that we could bring in.
Would you do that?
Depends on it. It all depends. Paul, I can't talk about hypotheticals. I'm not going to get trapped.
Okay, Bill.
Good for you. What are you doing? Why can't you sit in
What
your
do you keep
seat?
dropping?
This stupid plug keeps coming out of the laptop.
I'm sorry, Matt. Can you come in and hold Mr. Kirsch's hands? Grandpa's having a hard time with the technology.
There we go. I got it. The light went on.
Okay. Thank goodness.
Oh.
My feeling is, and the rest of the lights went off. My feeling is, if they lose, you could definitely see a higher percentage chance of someone going. If they win, I think it's status quo. I wouldn't want to give up any assets, any resources whatsoever to acquire anything.
No?
No.
Even receivers? We got a lot of.
We have a lot of receivers. No, I'm saying I would trade a receiver if I could acquire an asset.
Oh, you wouldn't.
Yeah,
you
that's
would,
what I'm saying.
Yeah, I'm not interested in losing.
I consider the players assets too.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, they're not. I mean, for the guys that we're talking about are all have a half a year left as Patriots.
No, I know. But
Like that's what I'm like. I wouldn't be like.
No, if
I'm not
somebody-
looking to deal Tyquan Thornton. That's an asset.
if somebody wants to give me a third round for win, I'll do it.
Well, yes, I would do that. The conditional seventh that you're going to get when you trade him.
See, I wouldn't do that. Screw that. That's
My God, a third round pick for a guy who's lost his job.
I'll
His
trade
floor
my
is a Pro Bowl
2019
guard.
RAV4 for a Lamborghini.
His floor is a Pro Bowl guard. But anyway, yeah. So that's something to watch because the deadline is next week.
Tuesday.
Tuesday. Yeah. So
Yeah, when I said I don't want to lose any assets, I meant I'm not looking to deal like a fourth round pick to acquire, some linebacker who may or may not factor into the equation.
Yep.
Now if I could get something for nothing, every once in a while at the trade deadline, and Bill has done this in the past, you acquire someone's disgruntled, talented player, like a Nakeem Talib is always the guy uses the example. Yeah, if something like that fell into my lap, I wouldn't mind something like that I could use, going forward. But in terms of a rental for the rest of the year, which is generally the guys that are available at this time of year, I'm not really interested in giving up a mid to late round pick for a guy who's not really going to make a difference.
Yep. Did I hear correctly that
Probably.
that the Patriots are favored in this game?
Yes.
I find that very surprising.
I
The
think
Jets
it's
are hit hard by those two injuries, I think.
I think that's true, and I think it's largely it doesn't mean I'm right. But this is what I've been saying about the Jets all year. Is like I don't understand how they keep winning. They're like they don't throw the ball, they don't have any success.
They have a good defense.
They have a good defense, they do. But they're just not very good.
And now they have a rookie quarterback who has been pretty well protected to this point. They're missing a pretty prominent lineman. This kid's going to be under pressure now. I don't know.
I think they have like three
It's
linemen
different
out now.
Well, they say
Yeah.
that like he's the most blitz guy in the league so far. Or something
Has
like
he
that.
been?
Something, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at it
Or
as
number 3 or something like that.
they only have one way to win, and that's a low-scoring, muck-it-up kind of game and get the breaks at the end and find a way. Now, to their credit, they've won 4 in a row doing that.
Yeah.
They deserve credit. I also think I know the Parcells thing, but that's not always true. The whole your record is what you are, what your record says you are. Sometimes you really can get fortunate in the path. And I think that they are making the Patriots' 7-game winning streak last year far more impressive than what the Jets have done this year. I mean, they scored twice in the last minute to beat Cleveland, and a fluke of all flukes, where if Nick Chubb just takes a knee, they lose. And even though I think he did the right thing, whatever. They played the Dolphins, and not only they're without Tua, but on the first play of the game, the backup quarterback has to go out. And they still needed a missed field goal in the fourth quarter to hold on. They would have fallen behind in the fourth quarter if Jason Sanders didn't miss a field goal.
Right.
They play the Broncos last week in Denver.
Yep.
No Russell Wilson.
Yep.
Like, I know Russell Wilson hasn't played well, but
this is a guy who is
would you
not
rather,
as good as him.
Right. Would you rather play Brett Rippon or Russell Wilson?
Right.
Like, I think they've been extremely fortunate in the way everything has sort of unfolded for them. Are they better? Yep. They have good young talent. They've gotten better. They've had a good draft. They've had a couple of good drafts now. I just don't think they're that good.
Yeah.
Now, you could just pencil in everything I just said about the Jets and erase Jets and put in Chicago, and it would all be kind of the same.
Right.
And we saw what happened last Monday.
So you will not be coming out before this game and saying this.
I'm not going to say there's no chance like I did last week. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
You know what a weird thing I noticed about the Jets? It's kind of like a schedule quirk. The first 4 games of the year, they played AFC North teams.
They got it all out of the way.
Yeah, like, the
Right.
AFC East lined up with the AFC North this year. So, we played Pittsburgh, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Baltimore. They played those 4 teams week 1, 2, 3, and 4. Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and then Pittsburgh.
You find that interesting?
Don't you think that's kind of odd?
Yeah, it's a schedule quirk. Yeah.
Well, that's what I called it.
Yeah.
It was a quirk.
Yeah.
I just said it was a quirk.
But now they're hitting
fact.
the meat of their schedule, right?
The buck stops here.
I don't know.
Yeah.
They don't have the whole thing. They went Baltimore, Cleveland, Cincy, Pittsburgh. Then they went Miami, Green Bay, Denver.
Yeah.
And the Green Bay win, I give them full points for. I think Green Bay's a mess, but they went to Lambeau Field and blew doors. I mean, I give them credit for that win. But
yeah.
I think there was a lot of good fortune otherwise.
Well, I don't know.
We'll see. I mean, listen.
When we went to the Jets last year, the game ended up not being close, but
it was much more competitive than it looked on the scoreboard.
I mean,
I would agree
Wilson
with
kept
you with
throwing interceptions.
I would agree with you on that.
Yeah.
They would move the ball a little bit, and he'd give it to us and set up a touchdown, and then they'd move the ball a little bit, and he'd throw it to us and set up another touchdown. That's how that game went. And even then, it was like 24-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
25-6, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So the game was in doubt for a little bit.
It's been a long time since the Patriots lost to the Jets.
I'm just praying. I got my rosary beads out. I'm hoping that Mac has a good game. Because you know what? If I'm the Jets fans, I'm yelling Zappy every time he's out in the field.
It's going to be brutal.
That's the chant.
Well, who would you rather face?
No, but I'm just to get into Mac's head. I'm saying.
Yeah, but I'm asking you if you want to call for Zappy, careful what you wish for.
Oh well, okay, but I'm doing that as a mean-spirited thing.
That's what Chicago was like. Chicago came out on the radio, but I don't think it was from the Bears specifically, but they said they would rather have Mac come back in before the game.
Yeah.
I don't think that was from the Bears themselves.
Right.
But that was the talk on talk radio.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. When we had our guest on
because they think
Monday
night. Because they think Zappy's better, or that Mac's not 100%.
I think they felt like Zappy was hot.
Yeah. Well.
Let's get the guy who hasn't played as opposed to the guy who's coming in on a hot streak. Now it turned out they played them both and they both weren't good.
The dissection of this game is going to be brutal. Like what plays were called for Mac, the whole thing.
I leave that to the smart people.
No, but
I'm bowing out of that one.
The smart people are going to have a field day with this one.
Yeah. Whatever.
But the thing is, and like I said before, it's important that we on this show are objective and don't come at it from a certain angle. So if the plays look like they're the same plays that have always been called for Mac, we need to be honest about that and say.
But what if people disagree?
What do you mean?
I think there's some disagreement on that.
I'm
listening to Bedard rant and rave. Why don't you let him go under center like Zappy does, and then Zappy comes in the game and the first 3 plays is in the shotgun.
Right.
What he's complaining about is not actually happening.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's like.
But it's over now. Forget it. It's fact.
Yeah.
It's out there. I mean, so it's not only that they're calling all different plays, they're trying to do it on purpose.
Right.
So I think the horse has left the barn.
It's like, but Greg Bedard and Dan Orlovsky, Chris Sims he's another cat, but I mean these guys they're professionals, right? Why would they think that an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's coach would try to sabotage their own player?
Clicks.
Really?
Page views.
But doesn't that diminish their credibility?
Yeah,
a little bit?
it's not necessarily clicks and page views for guys like Orlovsky and Chris Sims who don't really have pages to click. They're just on TV.
Yeah.
But they need a narrative, so they're looking at our local guys, see what's being written about. Oh, this will maybe move the needle on TV.
Well,
I don't know. I question everyone's. I don't think anyone really, maybe Mike Reese and Karen, who's going through this with okay, I'm going to have integrity. I'm going to use journalism ethics. It's all, how can I tweet out this one quote in a way that'll get me the most retweets and likes and will look a certain way. It's always the motive.
But what they're accusing or implying is, to me, is sports treason. It's treason.
Right, and that's
it's like at the end of the day, we're on a team.
And
you may not like the guy, but you got to go in it to win it, and that it's treason.
And that's my problem
Yeah.
with it. It's not the plays. Because if you want to tell, Dan Orlovsky knows more about football than I forgot more than I'll ever know. The guy played in the NFL. He played quarterback.
Right.
So I'm not telling you that he's wrong, that the plays aren't different. I'm sure they are different.
But he's talking the motive.
I don't care that they're different.
Yeah.
I wanted them to be different because I know what Mac Jones did last year with that offense wasn't good enough.
Right.
And I know he could have done what Bailey Zappi did if he was given the same opportunities. That's not my question. My question is, can the offense get to a different level? Can they do some things differently, and can Mac do that? Now, maybe he can't. This is why I said I'm not letting Mac off the hook for turning the ball over just because they're calling different plays. But I think you cross into a different area when you say that they're setting Mac up to fail so Zappi looks better.
and so people could say, well, okay, Mac can do what Zappi did, do it because Zappi won with it. But Bill might be thinking, and Patricia, we've got to get this offense better. We're not just thinking about today. We're thinking about how in the hell are we going to compete with Kansas City and Buffalo. And if we don't start now, and move from offense 101 to 201, we're never going to get there.
Right.
We can't start that in December.
You don't want
have to start
second-year quarterback playing like he would a first-year quarterback. There's no evolution there.
Right.
There's no progress.
We have to, like Paul said, we have to get better than we were last year.
And that might be part of the problem is it's not there.
Yeah.
Mac's not better with these, alterations to the offense. That might be part of the problem.
It could be.
I'm not saying that that's what Matt Patricia wants.
Yeah.
I can't go there. He wants him to fail.
Right.
He wants to sabotage him.
Right.
And that's the word that I keep hearing.
It's
sabotage.
treason. It's a fireable offense, and I can't believe he would do that. I just refuse.
And it's just totally illogical. Think it out.
Yeah. Yeah.
We got close to our
Speaking
practice.
of thinking it out.
Our practice up there.
Yeah. So in comes Evan.
So now we're going to find out Mac Jones wasn't at practice. No, I'm just kidding.
Guess where Evan was?
Evan has returned from practice. Evan has returned from practice. Yeah, Evan
with video
has returned from practice. What was the mood? Who wasn't there? What did he see?
All right, Evan. What do you got?
Same practice attendance as yesterday. Not really much more to report than that. No David Andrews, no Christian Barmore, no Kyle Duggar at practice today. We only got stretching, so I cannot tell you much more than that.
I think
but
I'm supposed to move over.
There are, some big pieces there, obviously. And I think, look, with Belichick naming Mac the starter this morning, at least for Sunday, the center situation is really interesting because obviously we know on top of just physically playing the position, the mental side of playing center, making the calls, helping the quarterback out pre-snap and things like that is a big part of what makes David Andrews extremely valuable. Now, I assume it would be James Ferentz, who has probably just as much knowledge at this point of the Patriots' protection schemes as David Andrews does. So hopefully
twice as many penalties.
So hopefully that won't be as big of a transition.
Wow.
mentally there. But
I like David Ferentz, but he's good for at least a penalty a game.
It's James, but
David,
that's okay.
They're just morphing them.
You guys
It's
are
all right.
close friends. I can see this guy. I worry about Cole Strange a little bit because I do think
Yeah.
David Andrews has really helped Cole Strange.
yeah, I do think, look, I don't think that there's 100% a pattern with it, but I do think that in situations where they are in five-man protect and they are trying to get the ball down the field, more times than not, I would say that David Andrews is opening left, right? Like he's snapping the ball and he's going to help Cole Strange versus snapping the ball and going to help Mike Onwenu, right? I don't think it's 100% of the time or completely calculated, but I do think that there are instances for sure on the tape where Cole Strange is getting help from the center where Mike Onwenu is taking the majority of the one-on-ones.
And in a week that, you're sort of, I don't want to say under fire, but, there's been a lot of confusion,
Yeah.
for lack of a better word, offensively. I would say that the voice of your offense is David Andrews. He was the guy who stepped up in the summer when things were not looking so hot out there, and he was on the field. We saw him do it off the field with us. We saw him talk passionately about things like that. I think his presence will be missed.
Yeah, I don't think that the Jets are not a big blitzing team. They're a zone team, Seattle 3 type of system. So it's not a big blitz system. Obviously, they could game plan and blitz more this week than maybe they have in past weeks. But just on the whole, it's not really known to be a big blitzing system. But what they will do up front is stunt a lot. So there's a lot of post-snap recognition and post-snap communication, maybe more so than pre-snap in a game like this. So that'll be something to monitor as well. The Patriots have done a decent job of picking up stunts so far this year, but that'll certainly be something that the Jets will try to do against them on Sunday. And then you also have to worry about Quinnen Williams, John Franklin Myers, two really good rushers. But this is a rush 4 type of team, but they do scheme it up a little bit with the pass rush.
Okay. What else was going on out there? What was, now that it's known that Mac is going to be the starter, did that affect the mood at all?
I wouldn't say it affected the mood at all. I do
Did
think
it affect your mood?
I was a little bit.
You're happy.
A little bit. Yeah, I think
So
that
Fred and I as well.
the biggest thing is, and look, I know that Belichick wouldn't commit to it being a long-term designation, which I'm sure I heard you guys talking a little bit about before I went out to practice, but I think the biggest thing is now I would move on from all of the Monday night comparisons between Bailey Zappi and Mac Jones and looking at it like, okay, in Mac's 11 dropbacks, he had X plays under center and X play action calls, and Zappi had X play action and X under center, and like going back and forth about how exactly they called the game on Monday night, and look at it from a more bigger picture sense of, okay, how do we get Mac back on the tracks now?
Exactly.
Because he's the starting quarterback. And I think that Belichick made that clear today when he named him the starter for Sunday and then also said that this was basically always injury related. Like once they felt like Mac was a full go, which he is now off the injury report, and Belichick used those exact words, full go, there's really no conversation for the head coach. It's Mac. So now we have to turn the page to what are they doing that has led to this statistical regression for Mac, and how can they fix it moving forward?
Yeah, we were talking just before you came on that, we know that Mac can run the plays that Zappi's running or ran. But are those plays going to get this offense better to a point where you can compete with the big boys?
Yeah.
And if the answer is no, then the time to start the next progression of this offense is now, not December, not next year. It's now. And that could be part of the issue. What we're seeing is like, okay, so Mac comes in there and we want to run offense 201. We don't want to run offense 101.
Right.
And that's why that's why it looks different.
Yeah. There's definitely an argument to be made that, a quarterback with over 700 dropbacks in the NFL is going to be more comfortable opening up the playbook a little bit more or pushing the ball down the field a little bit more than the quarterback that has 120 or whatever it is that Zappi has under his belt at this point. But I think the biggest thing for me is they've gone from like A to Z in one offseason, right? They were at A last year with an offense that looked had similar roots to what they were doing with Bailey Zappi, and now they're in a completely different offense with Mac Jones this season that's very heavily vertical based. And you look at the percentages just to like put tangible evidence into this. Last year, Mac Jones's deep passing rate, how many times he was throwing the ball 20 plus yards in the air, was 11.8%, 21st in the NFL. This year, it's 20.4%, almost double. And now he's second in the league in the NFL. So can we get 15%, right? Like, can we get a middle ground here? And I think that's the biggest thing for me is that, okay, they've basically eliminated a quick game, which is like, slant flat or like a curl or a hitch route where the ball's just coming out of his hands. He's reading, is it man, is it zone, and he's making a throw based off of where the open guy is almost instantly. It's called quick game for a reason because the ball is supposed to come out quickly. They've basically eliminated that. They've cut down screens. They don't run as many screens, and McDaniels was a screen guy, so they don't run as many screens as they did last year. So everything that he's throwing now is down the field. It's vertical based, and I'm not necessarily saying that that's not a bad. It's a good idea to have more of that, I guess, is what I'm getting at. But why are we going from, not as much of it to all of it? There has to be some sort of balance between the two things. And I asked Mac about it yesterday. Were you consulted about making this change? Was this something that you're happy that they've changed and morphed the offense into? And he said good offenses can throw every type of pass, short, medium, long. That's exactly what he said. And I look at the way that they're breaking it down right now just based off of the numbers and off of the tape, and it's way too much of one type of pass. And when you play like that, as we've seen other offenses play like that, I keep going back to Bruce Arians, right? And like Jameis Winston in the 30-30 season, like you're going to make big plays, you're going to have good moments, but you're also going to have turnovers. And that's exactly what we've seen so far from Mac in the games that he's played. So I'm not saying that they have to go all the way back to square one, but, they've went from 1 to 5 or 1 to 100 real fast here. Like, can we go from 1 to 50, right? And maybe save some of these deeper plays down the field for better situations in the game.
All right. And I don't have like any fact to back this up, but my guess is to Evan's point, they probably would have morphed to that as they started off the season. They were, turning the ball over a ton, and then he got hurt, and they didn't really get a chance to evolve into, okay,
what do we do best?
We went from this, and now we're going to this extreme, the way Evan talked about it. Let's see if we can find some middle ground and figure out what are the plays downfield that Mac is actually comfortable with, and then what are the things, the staples that he had success with last year that we want to continue maybe to incorporate a little bit more often. And they didn't really get a chance to do that. It was kind of a working out process, and then he got hurt in the third game.
Yeah, I guess I think, I was hoping the same thing, right? I was hoping that when he came back from this injury that they were going to recognize, and it's not just Mac's skill set, right? It's also the players on the team and what the other receivers are best at, and the fact that you have these two tight ends that you want to incorporate, and you have an offensive line that, quite frankly, has some question marks on it right now. You have a rookie starting at guard. You have some tackle issues that have come up over the last couple of weeks. So I don't know if Mac Jones holding the ball for 3 seconds, waiting for plays to develop down the field, is fitting their offense the best. And I was hoping for that. But in the 11 dropbacks that we did see from Mac on Monday night, it was the same offense that they were running in weeks 1 through 3. So and that is in a 0-0 game, opening drive, opening script, and you're still scripting these downfield plays. So maybe they come to Jesus eventually with this.
And what you don't know is what would have happened had he stayed in.
Right.
Like, was that part of the script, what they did? Not taking Mac out, but I'm talking about the play calls, like the sequence. Because it was 2 3 and outs. Like, I don't know. Before you came on, Evan, I'm not absolving Mac Jones in this.
Right.
He hasn't played well.
Yeah, but neither am I.
And I think that's kind of getting lost because it's just such a knee jerk to say, well, they're setting him up to fail. It's sabotage. And and you're hearing it from Orlovsky and Chris Sims, as well as Bedard. But that, to me, is completely ignoring the fact that the guy is turning the ball over at an alarming rate. I don't care what play is called. you're supposed to execute it, and they're not executing often enough.
The response, I hear you. I think the response I'd have to that is what they're calling from just a fundamental standpoint fit the quarterback, right? Because I think there's throws that are going around Twitter, right? And obviously the interception was a bad one. The interception, it's post wheel. Like, it's 2 vertical routes on that side of the field. They're trying to flood the zone and get a ball down the field. Him fitting the football into between 2 zone defenders 25 yards down the field, is he built for that?
No.
Well, also, it was a pass under duress, and he just shouldn't have made it. It wasn't even
was a
like
bad decision.
he could set his feet. He threw it off the back foot. Like, it was almost like one of those gotta-have-it plays in practice.
Right.
And it wasn't a gotta-have-it play. You could throw it away, live to fight another day.
That's second down, right?
Yeah.
It's second down, and they're calling plays for him to push the ball down the field and fit it in between 2 zone defenders. And there's another play that's going around where Jacoby Myers puts his hand up, and he doesn't see him down the sideline. It's a 35-yard hole shot against cover 2.
Right. You had said that yesterday, and I talked about that a little bit with some other
why
people,
would-
and Scott Zolak is strongly in agreement with you on that particular play.
Are you kidding? Like,
I
is he
talked to him
Josh Allen?
yesterday.
Like, why do you think he's going to be able to make that throw?
He said he might hit that 1 out of 10.
Right. And regardless of how, his tools and all that kind of stuff, it's just a low percentage throw to begin with for him to be able to hit that throw. And the arm strength that it takes to make that type of throw, especially given the fact that it's not your first read in the progression. So you're basically coming off the seam and then getting out to the vertical, and then you're a little bit late to it. And everybody's like, oh, well, the safety's, shaded inside. That's Jaquan Brisker, the guy that picked him off later in the game by making a ridiculous one-handed catch on the ball.
After Mac kicked him in the nads.
Yeah, so that's a safety that's ultra athletic. Eddie Jackson and Jaquan Brisker are really rangy players.
And I had made that comment the other night, too, in the postgame. It was like, for all the things that we sort of criticized the Bears about heading into the game, the one thing that no one really talked about is, I don't know if it was circumstantial with all their games, but their secondary has good numbers.
Yeah.
They were like the third-ranked pass defense in football.
Yeah, and it's a sound scheme that gave them trouble last year when they were in Indianapolis. So I just think that there's...
Which no one also talked about.
When you look at the big picture now of moving on from this quarterback saga, and with Mac being the starter, at least for Sunday, and I think that really is beyond until he loses the job.
That's what Fred and I think, too.
Right. Let's get him...
But ask me again at about 4:30 on Sunday.
Right. Let's get him playing well again.
Yes.
Right.
And if you think
that's the key to the rest of this season, is to get him back.
Right. And if you think that him trying to hit the cover 2 hole 35 yards down the field to Jacoby Myers on his second read or third read in the progression is the best way to run an offense for the quarterback that you drafted, then we just disagree, because I just don't see how that's what's best for him. What's best for him is getting the ball out quickly, using play action to create bigger passing lanes and more open receivers down the field, like calculated shots down the field like they used to do with McDaniels. And it wasn't just with Mac, that was the Brady offense for a lot of years too. It was never, except for Randy Moss and I guess, times with Brandon Cooks, like it was never an air it out offense to begin with back then either. So I don't see how they evaluated it and said, a vertical-based offense where Mac is going to lead the league in deep passing rate and be near the top of the league in average depth of target. Like, this was the best thing for us to do with this type of quarterback. Like, you're just making, you're shoving a round hole into a square peg.
To that point, David in Bethlehem writes in at webradio@patriots.com, guys, with respect, you are using the investigating scope backwards. Teams should start with the skills your players have and grow them. Trotters are not thoroughbreds. A galloper is not an ambler. Scheme without respecting players' abilities is what we have seen. Patricia is a neophyte offensive coordinator, offensive line coach, schemer, and has retarded Mac's development. And who has said Judge is going great guns? Stop the progression petri dish stuff. Please look at the skills of the guys you have.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, well,
that's exactly what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to figure out if I have a guy worth investing in moving forward.
No, but I said that they're trying to go from offense 101 to 201. That might be what he's talking about.
Right, and if he can't do it, he thinks he can't do it. clearly.
Well,
David thinks he can't.
Then we don't have a quarterback.
So exactly, and I want to find that out now, not 3 years from now when I'm deciding on his 5th-year option and the future and getting Baker Mayfield. I don't want to do that.
Because I'm going to bang this point home. Last year, the Patriots were an easy team to defend. So they have to get past that.
I had $1 for every time Fred said that on this show.
Well, I've never heard a team.
I'd actually be making a reasonable salary.
It obviously it affected me because I just keep getting reminded of that.
And I totally agree. And I don't disagree with David. I think there are some signs, like Evan just said, on that Jacoby Myers play. I don't think that's a throw he can make.
Not consistently. And it's not a throw that a lot of quarterbacks can make consistently. Mm-hmm. And I just think that, there are some quarterbacks, and just to give an example, like Patrick Mahomes, he sits for a year, but once he gets on the field, he's an MVP, right? He's just got that type of raw physical, he's a specimen. Okay. But then there's other quarterbacks that even with all the physical tools, it's Josh Allen, that it takes 3 or 4 years.
Took him 2 full years of mess.
Right.
And getting Stephon Diggs.
Right. So the Patriots with Mac Jones are fast forwarding through his development. For some reason, we have sped it up, and instead of playing the long game, which to their credit is what Buffalo did, because they knew that Josh Allen had some mechanical flaws, and they knew that he had some maturing and just growing as a quarterback to progress into the player that he is now. The Patriots are trying to take Mac Jones from year 1 to year 4, but we're only in year 2.
It could be. All right. In other words, we have to get a little bit more tread on his tires. But speaking of tires, Bridgestone is the official tire of the New England Patriots, and Bridgestone tires are now on sale through December 10th at all Sullivan Tire locations. Visit sullivantire.com for a location near you. All right, we're going to take a break. We'll be right back with more riveting discussion and picks later, so we got to hurry.
Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Patriot Place is the region's #1 shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Shop your favorites, including Vineyard Vines, Express, Olympia Sports, Petco, and more. Enjoy dining at one of our 19 restaurants, including Six String Grill and Stage, Scorpion Bar, and Bar Louie. And don't forget about the entertainment. Explore your inner artist at Muse Paint Bar, watch a movie at Showcase Cinema Deluxe, or grab a controller and start gaming at Helix Esports. For a complete directory listing, please visit patriot-place.com.
How did Verizon build the fastest 5G in the world? We started by building it right with 5G Ultra Wideband. Then, we gave it massive capacity and near zero lag. And it's not just fast, it's 25 times faster than today's 4G networks. This is 5G built right from the network more people rely on, only on Verizon. 5G Ultra Wideband available only in parts of select cities. Global claim based on open signal independent analysis. 25 times analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q2 2020.
The ruling on the field stands.
We deliver jerseys, funny foam fingers, and everything you need for the game. But what you really get is so much more.
FedEx Delivery.
Game day spirit. What we deliver by delivering.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Some people are never content with simply being good. Not when they can be great. But it takes a big step to get there. In fact, it takes a leap of faith, a belief in what you're striving toward, and a willingness to make the commitment, day in and day out, to something bigger than yourself. Putnam is proud to partner with those who share their own commitment to performance excellence. This is Matt Light for Putnam Investments, a world of investing.
There's no season better than football season. And there's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. To add to the thrill, DraftKings has millions of dollars in prizes up for grabs every week. So head to the app now and check it out. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy football is easy to play. Just pick 9 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so much more. There's no better way to put your football knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at $1 million in total prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week. That's promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Patriots fans, you'll want to check out the replay on this one. Pat the Patriot is stealing the show tonight with his Bank of America mobile banking app.
That's right, folks. So here we see Pat cheering, and then whammo! Is that Bank of America life plan?
Looks like he's saving up for some big future moves. Planning the next vacay, huh, big guy?
And wait, now he's paying back his buddy for concessions using Zelle? No penalty there. Incredible!
No way! As if that double move wasn't impressive enough, now he's beefing up his account defense with security meter? Holy cannoli, what a performance!
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive, Patriot fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/banking. You must be enrolled in online banking or download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
Want to get into the game? Get coached up at Dean College. Equipped with exclusive academic partnerships featuring the Patriots, Revolution, Providence Bruins, summer baseball, and more, our classrooms are set up for success by learning directly from the pros. Dean College has programs in communications, sports management, business, and marketing with unprecedented hands-on experiences. Our students take what they learn in the classroom and put it right to work in the marketplace. At Dean College, our students don't just play games, we run them. Visit us at dean.edu.
Verizon, the network America relies on, and the official 5G network of the New England Patriots. Get in on the action with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of the New England Patriots. New customers can download the DraftKings app now and play free for millions in prizes using code PATS. That's code PATS, only at DraftKings. Minimum $5 deposit required. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details. Patriot Place is the region's #1 shopping, dining, and entertainment destination. Shop your favorites, including Vineyard Vines, Express, Olympia Sports, Petco, and more. Enjoy dining at one of our 19 restaurants, including 6 String Grill and Stage, Scorpion Bar, and Bar Louie. And don't forget about the entertainment. Explore your inner artist at Muse Paint Bar, watch a movie at Showcase Cinema Deluxe, or grab a controller and start gaming at Helix eSports. For a complete directory listing, please visit patriot-place.com.
How did Verizon build the fastest 5G in the world? We started by building it right with 5G Ultra Wideband. Then, we gave it massive capacity and near zero lag. And it's not just fast, it's 25 times faster than today's 4G networks. This is 5G built right from the network more people rely on, only on Verizon. 5G Ultra Wideband available only in parts of select cities. Global claim based on open signal independent analysis. 25 times analysis by Ookla Speed Test Intelligence data Q2 2020.
The ruling on the field stands.
We deliver jerseys, funny foam fingers, and everything you need for the game. But what you really get is so much more.
FedEx Delivery.
Game day spirit. What we deliver by delivering.
In sports, if you think joy only happens after you win, think again. Look at the world's most successful athletes like Serena Williams, Brooks Koepka, and Alex Morgan. They don't spend all their days grinding away. They take time to enjoy themselves, like getting together with friends over a Michelob Ultra, because they know that happiness is the key to winning, and that joy is the whole game, not just the end game. Michelob Ultra. 95 calories, 2.6 grams of carbs. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. AB Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Some people are never content with simply being good. Not when they can be great. But it takes a big step to get there. In fact, it takes a leap of faith, a belief in what you're striving toward, and a willingness to make the commitment, day in and day out, to something bigger than yourself. Putnam is proud to partner with those who share their own commitment to performance excellence. This is Matt Light for Putnam Investments, a world of investing.
There's no season better than football season. And there's no better place to get in on all of the action than with DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of the New England Patriots. To add to the thrill, DraftKings has millions of dollars in prizes up for grabs every week. So head to the app now and check it out. If you haven't tried it yet, fantasy football is easy to play. Just pick 9 players, stay under the salary cap, and pile up points for yards, touchdowns, receptions, and so much more. There's no better way to put your football knowledge to the test than to compete for a shot at $1 million in total prizes. Download the DraftKings app now and use promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week. That's promo code PATS to get a shot at millions of dollars in total prizes every week, only at DraftKings. Eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
Patriots fans, you'll want to check out the replay on this one. Pat the Patriot is stealing the show tonight with his Bank of America mobile banking app.
That's right, folks. So here we see Pat cheering, and then whammo! Is that Bank of America life plan?
Looks like he's saving up for some big future moves. Planning the next vacay, huh, big guy?
And wait, now he's paying back his buddy for concessions using Zelle? No penalty there. Incredible!
No way! As if that double move wasn't impressive enough, now he's beefing up his account defense with security meter? Holy cannoli, what a performance!
Bank of America's digital tools are so impressive, Patriot fans just can't stop banking. Learn more at bankofamerica.com/banking. You must be enrolled in online banking or download the latest version of the mobile banking app, only available on select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. Terms and conditions apply. Member FDIC.
And now, great moments in history.
But Fred, what tastes better, a tender or a wing?
A wing, if it's done right, because the skin's still on it and it's fried, and
it's all from one chicken.
I think the bone gives it extra flavor. I don't know why.
Well, it's the fat from the skin that gives it the flavor.
Yeah, I like bone in, but there's times that I'm perfectly satisfied with my tenders.
Right here,
like when we
on
do it
this
right
show.
here, right? Because I don't want to be eating wings and making a mess as I'm trying to yell at college for telling me that I call Belichick a mediocre coach.
It's on your face, but it's also all in your fingers and stuff.
Experience.
So when I eat wings at home, after I'm done, I just put my hand out and my dog cleans my fingers
my
for
God.
me.
Like you're the
Oh
king.
my God, Fred.
Just hangs his hand off the throne.
What?
You fat bastard. You can't even get up and wash your own hands?
Not immediately. You're watching TV. You let the dog do the work.
Oh my God, Fred.
Not yet.
I just can't.
I'm still working.
He likes it.
Yeah.
It's win-win for both
It's a
of
little
us.
spicy for us. I'll give him a little
It's all right.
stomach.
It's all right.
That's another great moment from
All right, 855-PASS-500 is the Ace Ticket Hotline. Web radio at Patriots.com is the email address. It's Evan, it's Alex, it's Paul, it's me, Matt in the booth. Jack in Halifax writes in. He says, when Cam and Mac were competing, the logic on this show was that you go with the rookie over the vet if they're playing at a similar level, and Mac won the job because of this. I know Mac is in his second year and not an established vet as Cam was, but still, Cam at least was, a highly respected player in the league, so it would be harder to move him off than Mac. I believe it's unlikely either Mac or Zappe is the long-term guy, but I've seen enough from Mac to know he is not the guy. Zappe, on the other hand, maybe haven't seen enough to say with certainty he isn't the guy. Just because Mac cost a first-round pick doesn't entitle him to the job. In Bill we trust, he says.
Yes, it does.
I don't think he's entitled to the job. I just think he's better.
Yeah, right now I think he's better.
That's all.
I think pulling the plug on a first-round pick 22 games into his career just because it's been sloppy for 4 games is a
I would argue we haven't
overreaction.
seen enough. That was the phrase he used, I've seen enough.
I know they're totally different types of quarterbacks, but I'll use the Buffalo example again. What if the Bills had said after 2 seasons of Josh Allen being terrible, quite frankly.
He's never going to get it. He has all the skills in the world, but he's not going to get it. He can't figure it out.
Right. Now they probably have the second best quarterback in the league.
Bill in D.C., glad to see that Mac has been named the definitive starter on Sunday. I also hope that privately, Bill told Mac that barring injury, he'd be in for the entire game and wouldn't get pulled if there's an interception or a couple of bad series. I think both Mac and the rest of the team need to know that he's the guy on Sunday. So there's no looking over the shoulder to see if Zappy's warming up after a 3-and-out.
On Sunday, I think that's the case, but I don't think he committed to anything beyond that.
No. But even with Sunday, I think it's not a bad point that Bill – I hope that Bill has told him it's your game. Don't.
That was the impression I got. I mean, he said he was a full go.
Yeah.
And then when he was asked of, was this injury related last week versus this week, and he said yes, I think the impression that he gave was they just didn't feel like he was physically ready to play a full game last week, and this week they do, so he's starting and he's playing in the game.
Okay. I'm with Evan.
Let's go to the Ace Ticket Hotline. We'll start with Eric in New Jersey. Thanks for holding on, Eric. What's up?
Hey, guys. I'm just kind of glad we got some clarity now as, to who the quarterback is. I'm going to do what's in the best interest of the team, and I'm going to stand behind Mac here. But what do you guys think? Where's the leash at? Where's, obviously, throw 8 picks. They're going to pull Peterman out there. But what do you think's the leash moving forward? Because if you pull him again, I think he's toast. Mentally, he'll be toast, and I'll take that off the line. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
okay, thanks, Eric.
Eric took the question out of my mouth. Of just like
how long is the leash?
Yeah, if he goes out there and it's pretty terrible, much of the same of what we saw the first 3 drives last week, what do you do? Just let him figure it out?
You keep him in the whole game.
I think he stays.
There's no pulling him out this game unless he gets hurt.
I think injury would be
unless he gets hurt. But
which is easy for him because he can just say, well, the ankle started bothering him.
Yeah. but I think it's what happens the next game. And I think that if you take him out against the Colts and you put Zappy in, he's toast. I mean, you might as well keep Zappy in the rest of the season.
I think the leash is 9 games. You can't.
So you think there's no amount of poor play that he can put forth that they would make a change?
No, because I think if you're making that kind of change at this point of the season, it's kind of like the Cam Jarrett Stidham thing, right? I think at this point you're on a path and you stick to it, and is switching the quarterback in week 14, when you're I don't know 4-7 or whatever the record would be. I can't do math off the top of my head, but whatever the record is, I mean, what's the point, right? I mean,
I think if that's true, and I don't necessarily disagree with you guys. I think it might be him for the 9 games, whatever. 10 games left. That makes the decision to me Monday night even stranger. It wasn't health related that he came out of the game. It wasn't.
That's what they want you to believe.
No, but he had said we didn't think he could play the whole game due to health reasons.
Yeah.
He didn't say he came out of the game at the time he came out for health. Matter of fact, he said no, that wasn't why. And he said it wasn't pre-planned that he came out after the 3rd series. And I know that they're not saying, he bristled when Phil Perry said it kind of looked like there was performance. Well, you can write whatever you want. I think that was him saying, yeah, I know why I could see why you're saying it that way. Yeah. And he didn't have the strength to just say no.
Well, he's never going to,
because he's not going to tell you. And I personally think he didn't say it today, but what Evan said is right. I think that he plans. Bill's thought process right now is he's healthy, he's back, he's the starter. We don't have questions going back and forth now. But I think that could change based on his play. If he continues to turn it over at an alarming rate, I don't think it's going to happen Sunday.
Well, and
I think he would have to.
I just think
he would have to do a Nathan Peterman.
And that's
on
what
Sunday.
Bill's talking about. When he said don't trap, you can't predict the future.
Right?
Could there be a situation in which Mac is not? Yes, of course. And I'm talking about other than injury. Right,
and that's why I think he didn't say it,
right?
And that's why I don't think it's a guarantee.
I'm just not. He just can't commit.
I just think it's short-sighted. If you're gonna, let's say he plays 3 more bad games, and then you're gonna do you really think Bailey Zappi is gonna come in and save the season?
No, but do you think that if he played 3 more bad games, that he might think this guy isn't the guy?
Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he thinks that, but I just think at this point, you need to sink or swim with Mac, but B, I think more importantly, you need to let Mac work through the struggles that he has, because a lot of quarterbacks struggle early on in their careers.
Right. And I think that's what will happen.
And I
think even if he does struggle, he'll work through it and they'll try to get through.
If he's looking over his shoulder the whole time,
it's not going to be a Nathan Peterman
That's
when he
fair.
goes out there and throws 4 picks in the first 5 play.
No.
That's
The other quarterback might do that.
Ooh.
Sorry.
Ooh.
Let's go to the phones.
Sneaky.
Patty and
Evan has
Agawam.
sneaky
What's up,
hate for
Patty?
Bailey Zappi.
No.
It's not that sneaky.
I didn't mean Bailey Zappi. I meant Zach Wilson. Just to clarify.
Oh, that other quarterback.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't see that happen. They don't let him throw the ball enough to throw that many picks.
What's up, Patty?
I'm here, Freddie.
Yep.
Yeah, I have to side with Evan. Well, most of you guys, all of you guys, pretty much. You don't know what a quarterback is until a few years into his career, and I mean, all this talk of I've seen enough of Mac. I mean,
really
have you? He's played one full season, a rookie season, and kind of to touch on what Evan was saying. Not everybody is a Tom Brady or a Pat Mahomes or even like a Justin Herbert who comes into the league, gets their chance, and just completely runs with it. I mean, what you're seeing right now with Mac Jones is not the exception, it's the rule. I mean, you're not going to really know what the guy is until pretty much the end of next season, going into his 4th year, when you're getting ready to decide whether you're going to pick up the 5th-year option on him or not.
I'm going to push back a little bit, Patty, and I think he needs more time. I think he's lost injury time this year and whatnot. That I agree with. I think the more the exception is the guy that you need to figure out 4 years, and then you're like, oh, he is really good 4 or 5 years. Oh, I didn't think he was that good, but year 4, year 5, he really showed why everybody was so high on him. I think that's the exception. I think if a guy's really, really good, you see enough early on to say this guy can do something. And I think Josh Allen might be one of those outliers where it was really bad for a couple of years and then turned on a dime. I think that's an outlier. I don't think there are that many guys like that. I think the best quarterbacks in the league showed you they were pretty good pretty quickly.
How about Drew Brees?
He was really good in San Diego before he ruined his shoulder.
He was good in San Diego, but it took him 2 or 3 years to be good in San Diego.
Yeah.
I think it was his second year. He
was a Pro Bowler in his
beat the
third
crap
year.
out of us as a rookie, I think, didn't he?
I mean, I'm not saying that there weren't flashes. I mean, there were flashes with Mac. I'm just saying that Drew Brees being, when he retired, the all-time leader in passing yards. If you told somebody in San Diego back in 2001 that would have been the case.
Well, I think you mentioned Drew Brees. He's an exception to a lot of rules.
6 foot.
The height, everything, arm strength.
And that's the thing. That's the thing that Josh had too, which is why people were willing to kind of wait, because it's like, look at this athletic freak, right? And it's like, you can't really compare Mac in the same way to say like, wait, but look at the skills, look at the athleticism. Let's wait and see if that translates, because it's a different
That's
body.
why I brought up Drew Brees, not because I think Mac is going to be the all-time leading passing yards king when he retires, but because Drew Brees is not a toolsy quarterback.
Right.
So I do think that there are guys, and I think with Brees, until the shoulder injury, and then, obviously things got murky for him, but for Drew Brees, it was a lot of physical development once he got in the league. He was one of those guys, along with Brady, who I think is the other perfect example for this, along with Brady, that really worked on arm strength, their physical makeup to maximize their God-given DNA.
Whatever they had to work.
Right.
And I would argue that Tom Brady, immediately upon entering the starting lineup, showed you what he was capable of. That's all I'm saying. I think more often than not, you see signs of greatness.
I'm not saying signs of greatness, right? But you don't think you've seen in the last year and a half any signs that Mac Jones could be a long-term starter in the league. You haven't seen anything that makes you think that.
A long-term starter or a frontline starter? Those are two different things. I think he could be Kirk Cousins.
Right.
I think he could be Andy Dalton, but I don't think he can be Patrick Mahomes.
Well, no.
Joe Burrow.
I think Burrow's a good example.
I don't think he could be those
Patrick
guys.
Mahomes is a unicorn, Okay. There's not too many guys.
No, there aren't. I mean, but Joe Burrow is a guy who, he's a pocket passer for the most part, but like you can just tell he's got it.
What if you take?
He's got a better arm for one.
What if you take Jamar Chase and put him on the Patriots?
I think it helps.
Because I honestly, year one for Joe Burrow was rough. I know he had the injury, but before the injury, year one for Joe Burrow was not perfect.
But also with a terrible organization and a terrible, terrible team.
no offense, but right now the Patriots offensive coaching staff and what's going on around Mac Jones is what?
Wow, Fred, I don't know.
No offense to you, Paul.
I don't know, Fred.
Well, listen, I think what Evan is basically saying is that he thinks Mac can be a good quarterback in this league, right? That's what you're saying.
I think I've seen moments where I believe that, and until I see him in a solid foundation and then fail, I'm just not ready to give up on it.
But good? Yeah. I would agree with that. I think he could be good. I don't think he could be great. That's all.
Yeah.
I think there are 20 good quarterbacks in the league. I think there are probably 10 that suck and 10 that are really good.
There's just he's in the middle. Quarterbacks that
maybe obviously the math doesn't work there, but work with me here.
There's just so few quarterbacks in the league now. I mean, I think that, you can kind of sum it up by some of the names we've already thrown out, like Mahomes and Josh Allen, that are truly transcendent of what's going on around them. I mean, look at Brady in Tampa right now, right? I mean, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback of all time.
What do you think the problem is with Brady in Tampa right now?
I mean, maybe him mentally,
so
right now. But
can we sort of say,
but
Tom Brady would be fine if he wasn't going through what he's going through? Because clearly, it's a guy. It's
potentially, but what I'm
saying, clearly a man in turmoil.
When you see,
he also didn't want to go back to Tampa Bay, so
no, this is what I'm saying. This is not because he can't do it anymore because of those that the talent around him is eroded. This has nothing to do with that. It's the same receivers that he excelled with. The team,
the team is not as good though, and Byron Leftwich is getting a lot of heat.
He's in complete disarray. I mean, I watched a lot of that game the other day.
Here's a good example of a guy who puts up the numbers despite the team being bad. Was Deshaun Watson? You could tell this guy's a good quarterback. He's just on a bad team. There was just no doubt about that.
Well, I think a lot of people say that about Herbert. But they don't win enough. But he looks like he's pretty good.
Even Deshaun, for most of his career in Houston, had DeAndre Hopkins. The Patriots don't have DeAndre Hopkins walking through that door right now. And it's no offense to the receivers that they have, because I think they've gotten better there. I think that they've made improvements. I think Devontae Parker, Kendrick Bourne, Jacoby Myers, Tyquan Thornton is much better than what it was in 2020 for Cam Newton, or even probably in 19 in Brady's last year. But they still don't have the guy. They still don't have a superstar receiver that he's throwing to. I just think that if you look across the league in general, a lot of what's going on with quarterbacks that are playing well versus quarterbacks that are not playing well is what their infrastructure is. Who are their receivers? What's the offensive line play look like? What's the scheme look like? Who's calling the plays? Right. And all of a sudden, when guys that have all of those things all buttoned up, like Josh Allen, now he's a perennial MVP candidate. And then guys that are not in as great situations are struggling, even guys that I think are good quarterbacks.
I mean, I think everything you're saying makes sense. I just am not a believer in the skill set. I mean, that's my bottom line. I don't think he's special in any way. I don't think he does anything at a plus level. And I think to be great, you have to have plus skills. So you can give him better players, and that will elevate him, but I don't think it's going to get you where you want to go.
Let's go to Sean in Vancouver. What's up, Sean?
Well, I'm happy they're going with Mac Jones this week.
All that said, I am too.
Yeah, well, sure. No, well, I won't be happy, though, if the Patriots are insane and stick with doing the thing that doesn't work over and again. I'm completely on board with what Evan is saying. I want to see him run an offense where he's got max protection, he's under center with the play action, hitting the short and immediate passes. Give him something easier to do in this, at least to start the game, and then when bring the safeties down, then you can go downfield when it makes sense. Like, you're not playing on your heels. Make the defense play on their heels. Make them react to what you're doing.
Yeah. No, that what you say makes sense. It all starts with that line, though. That line's got to play better. They've got to play better. They've got to get rid of the mistakes, because Mac's going to look terrible if the line looks terrible. It's just the way it is.
Jamar Chase. We got to get better offensive line.
Wouldn't you agree? I'm not even talking about bringing in Jamar Chase.
I'm
talking about the guys on this team.
I think they have an average offense. I don't think that they have a special offense. I would agree. But I just feel like a lot of the stuff we say right now is stuff that I used to say about Bledsoe. I loved Bledsoe. I wore Bledsoe footy pajamas. And I used to say, well, if they just did this and just did that, and they helped him with this, and they got him that. And you know what? He was always good. He was never great.
I just don't know how many quarterbacks in the league or that exist on planet Earth are transcendent of the situation. right? Like
I just want a guy that's good enough that I can win it all with, and I don't think he is. That's all.
Do you not think that he is individually? Like, because I guess the point I'm getting at is, I don't know how true this is, but
I don't either.
The narrative of
it's the beauty
has always
of
been
Patriots Unfiltered.
that Bill Belichick thinks that if he's got at least an above average quarterback, that he'll be able to compete for a Super Bowl.
I think
right?
average.
Right, or whatever.
I think he thinks
top
nothing of the
15
position, to be honest with you.
or whatever, right? So I agree with you that, is Mac the type of quarterback that's going to put the whole thing on his shoulders and carry the Patriots to a Super Bowl?
No, and I'm not suggesting that you're saying that. I'm not being unfair about it.
But here's the thing about getting to a Super Bowl. You need a quarterback who throughout the season at times does put the team on his shoulder in order to get that win that you weren't supposed to get that comeback that gets you the bye, you need a playmaker at that position in order to get to the Super Bowl.
Totally.
I think you just articulated it better than I did.
Totally.
That's how I feel, and I don't think he's that guy.
I mean, I've showed the stats that I had pulled after the game on Monday night of, they're 0-9 when the opponent scores more than 25 points. They have yet to win a shootout with Mac Jones as the quarterback.
Like Brady won a game when allowing more than 25 points in his third start.
Right.
And I totally unfair. Okay, I'm not comparing him to Brady.
But
I'm just using
all the
it
good quarterbacks do
I'm just using it as an example of, sometimes you see something. And I'm not saying, he's not Brady, Paul. No kidding. Yeah, he's not. And no one else is either. But what I'm saying is I saw something quickly. And again, coming from a Drew supporter, I saw something very quickly. Now, Drew had that. Drew was excellent coming from behind. But he wasn't Brady.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that we're gone now 10 games or so in those situations, and they haven't really come close to winning any of them. When they fall behind by 2 scores, they've never really even come close to winning one of those games. I think that you'd see some signs of it's coming, he's getting better, he's doing this. Still time. And the worst thing that happened, as bad as Monday night was for Mac Jones, the worst thing that happened was him getting hurt, period. Because he would have just kept playing, and then we could have seen a little bit more of this.
Yep. Couple quick phone calls, and we've got to turn to the picks. Williams and Phillum. What's up, William?
Hey, Fred. What's going on?
Hey.
Hey, just wanted to apologize to y'all yesterday for my outburst. I was just frustrated with the team. That's all, and the coaches and stuff. That's just me.
It's a good outburst.
All right.
Don't apologize. Passion.
Okay,
Never apologize for being passionate.
Okay, understood.
I thought he was going to drop an F-bomb.
Real fast. So the trade deadline is coming up and Kansas City just made a trade also. So, I know y'all want to see where Mac is at. Why not just give him the talent and whatnot, and just make a move. You're welcome. There's receivers that's on the block and whatnot. Brandon Cooks, Jerry Jeudy, and many others and whatnot. But,
I'd be interested in Jerry Jeudy, but Brandon Cooks, we interested in bringing him back at this stage?
We're complaining about the vertical game.
But he's a piece for a really good team.
I also think I like both of those guys.
I like both players, but I think that they're in different stages of their career. I'm thinking in terms of I'm acquiring someone now that I can be, I can have with me going forward. Jerry Jeudy's that.
I love the idea of Jerry Jeudy. I do think that, you got 2 guys in Jacoby Myers and Kendrick Bourne that overlap a lot with how you're going to use Jeudy. So basically, if you give up a lot of assets to get Jerry Jeudy, I think is a great player, then you're basically saying that Jacoby and Kendrick are not going to be his.
Can I say one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay, just real quick. Paul, you and Evan, y'all say they have enough receivers. Okay, we all get that, but none of those receivers are none of the names that I just named. You know what I'm saying?
I just don't. I like both of those players, but you're going to tell me that Brandon Cooks is going to
I think we have to take Brandon Cooks out of it because
dramatically change the equation of what their passing game looks like.
Is Jerry Jeudy?
I'm not saying that, but he's better than all of them. And
is he?
And any of them are better than the Patriots receivers.
Okay. I was told all summer how they have all these receivers and all this depth. And
they're getting all sorts of calls about all of them.
I still think that they are good. I really do. Mac, I think the offense, hit a speed bump. Well, let's see what happens here now. But I think we don't have elite receivers, but I think we've got a room full of good receivers. I really do.
The rest of the league agrees with you. I mean, they're getting calls left and right for Aguilar, Kendrick Bourne, Devontae Parker, people, Jacoby, everybody's calling the Patriots because they see this logjam that they have at receiver.
That's what the agents are saying anyway.
The problem,
all those guys are going to be free agents, and they're drumming up interest in them.
The problem is more so, like we talked about with Jamar Chase. It's like you don't have that bona fide stud. You don't have that number one guy. You don't have Gronk. You don't have Randy Moss. You don't have Wes Welker. You don't have that number one guy. But I don't know if Jerry Jeudy, as good of a player as I think he is, I don't know if he moves the needle like that. Right. I think he's marginally better than the guys that you have.
If you were another team, and you could pick a Patriots receiver to trade for, and let's just say that for argument's sake, the price was the same for all of them, who would you take?
Well,
probably Jacoby.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I already have a one, I would take Myers.
Yeah.
I would take Tyquan Thornton. He's the only guy I'd be interested in.
He's the only one we're not trading.
Right.
That's the only
because he's the only guy that I don't know about yet.
Yeah, right.
And I think that's kind of what Kansas City did. I'm going to take the first-round draft pick, Kadarius Toney, and I'm going to roll the dice that he can come to my team with Patrick Mahomes, and he can maybe fit better. Otherwise, I have those guys. Green Bay might be a team that would take an Aguilar and say, he could make a difference on my team.
Yeah,
because they have nothing.
TJ's in Atlanta. Hey, TJ.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good.
I think we're going to be dead. I am really disappointed in the fans. I've been a fan for 20 years, millennial. That's the first Super Bowl I watched. To watch them boo the quarterback in this whole entitlement, collective narcissism, woo blah, Boston sports, whatever.
Your phone stinks.
We the middling quarterback and do something.
Yeah.
It's not the Jet Dover Seahawks or the 0-2 Bucks. It's never going to happen again.
Okay.
I just feel like.
Sorry, TJ. Sorry, I have to cut you off. The phone is not. It's cutting in and out. We can't really figure out what you're saying. All right. It's that time of the week, Matt. Paul, what happened last week? I'm afraid to ask.
I'm unprepared.
I'm afraid to ask.
Okay. So, last week, Evan, 9-5.
Look at that.
Mike and Paul, 8-6. Fred, 7-7.
Ah, boy.
500.
With the spread.
It's not good.
With the spread, Paul, 9-5. Continues to do better with the spread than he does overall. Fred, 8-6.
It's an improvement.
Evan, 6-8. Mike, 5-9.
How did I go 9-5 and then 6-8 against the spread?
Well,
That's
Evan,
impressive.
as we say many times in this show, with the spread is where we separate.
Fred is right.
The wheat from the chaff.
Fred is right. I mean, that's much more difficult.
Yeah.
Tells me that you probably pick a lot of favorites. I'd have to go back and check, but
I picked the good teams to win. That's what I do.
So, season standings are as follows. Evan is 38-22 overall, far fewer games played than the rest of us. With the three of us that have picked every game, I am 66-41-1. Mike is 61-46-1, and Fred is 57-50-1. Alex is 38-24. With the spread, I'm sorry, I know that I'm obnoxious about this, but I'm 64-42-2. Picking every single game by the spread.
That's really good, Paul. Good for you.
That's over 60%.
Yeah, good
and
boy.
it's insane.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, I have a couple of 3-11s coming. I can feel it.
I'm going to give you a treat.
Mike, 51-55-2. Fred, 43-63-2. And
time.
Evan, 27-31-2. Alex, you're still 30-31-1.
There's still time.
So that's the numbers as they stand
all right.
today.
A lot of room for improvement. All right.
Especially for you.
That's what I'm talking about. That's all I care about. Tonight, 8:15 on Prime Video.
Tonight.
The 4-3 Ravens are at the 3-4 Buccaneers. People say, "Oh, this is a good game." What is it?
Is it?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't think any Thursday night games are good. But anyway, Tampa by 1.5.
Tampa by a
throw
point.
himself on the ground there too.
A point and a half.
That's another thing that I don't like about him.
I'll go first, I guess. 'Cause
Yes,
Deuce isn't
you're
here.
in the Deuce seat.
All right.
I will tell you that Deuce took Baltimore both ways.
Okay.
I'm also going to take Baltimore. I like we were talking about earlier. Something going on with Brady. Well, we all know what's going on with Brady, and I can't trust the Bucs right now.
Alex, would you like to pick this week? Would you?
Yeah, I'm gonna pick this week.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go. I'm taking Tampa Bay. Both ways.
Yeah, I tend to take the home team on Thursday night. But I'm gonna take Baltimore. I'm gonna play a hunch. I just think until I see a turnaround with Tampa, I have a hard time predicting it.
I'm going with Tommy. He spent a week with Tony Robbins and Oprah and Alex and all his friends, and they got him right. And I think Buccaneers turn it around.
Did he actually hang out with Tony Robinson?
Oh yeah.
Oh, I missed
Tony
that.
Robbins.
I missed that.
Oh, he did a whole event with him, right? Tony Robbins.
I have no
It's
idea.
very motivating.
Yeah, here in Boston. Remember Tony Robbins came?
Oh no, but she's met this week.
Well, I'm just kidding about this
Oh,
week.
okay.
I don't know.
See, I thought you were being
Yeah,
serious.
I thought you were, like-
when she asked you about it, I thought you were being serious.
Oh no, but that's he's.
I thought he just had like this intervention.
Yes.
And he's coming ready.
Well,
to go.
that's the joke. That
Yes, you
Tony
do.
Robbins and
Got it.
Oprah and
The actual
and
joke
Jim
is
Gray
43,
and Alex,
63, and 2.
And they were all. Oh, you be quiet. and they were all in the room and they helped him. That's the joke. It's a
I
joke.
hope so. I hope so.
Yeah. All right. I'm sticking with Tommy. For you getting up early Sunday morning, 9:30 in London, it's the 2-5 Broncos at the host 2-5 Jaguars.
Jacksonville by 2.5.
Ugh.
Mr. Unlimited may or may not be able to play.
Oh, he's playing. He was doing high knees on the plane. He's playing.
Yeah.
What a hardo.
And
I
so
just
is
can't
this true?
stand
What
it.
I read that like he's able to control his poops, so he only
Yes.
does it once a week.
That's some Illuminati. That's not
yes.
good. You need to.
It's
I'm not
actually
gonna get
it's
into
actually
this, but
twice
you
a
really
week.
Twice a
should
week.
be
Tuesdays and
pooping every day.
Thursdays.
Yeah.
Oh, he said that?
Yeah.
In the
You gotta poop
Athletic.
every
Yeah.
day. If he's not pooping every day, I'm not taking
I thought
that
it was an
quarterback.
Onion
That's
article
a
for a second, but it's
digestive issue.
real.
Yeah, like you figure out like what to eat, like the types of food, so it all gets made into energy, and he only has to poop twice a week.
No,
Can you just
need to
imagine-
get rid of those toxins. Stop.
I think Alex may know more about nutrition than anyone I've ever met.
Can you just imagine, like,
And he's doing Subway commercials.
on an 8-hour plane ride, and the quarterback of the team, while everybody else is dozing off or watching movies or whatever, is working out in the aisles of the plane?
Right.
Like,
I'd be
Clenching
so
his
mard.
butt cheeks so he
If
doesn't
I was
poop.
another
What
player,
a
I'd be,
hardo.
yeah, I'd be like, sit down and
If I was
shut
a flight attendant, I'd be like, Sir,
I have
you
I have
need to
no.
sit.
I'm gonna pull a Fred and make a spite pick here, and I'm taking the Jaguars. I have no reason to agree with that
You're
whatsoever.
learning.
But I just
You'll be losing,
can't-
but you're learning.
I can't do it. With
And this is
Russell
why I don't
Wilson.
really make fun of Fred that much about the picks, because half the time he loses on purpose, just for the sake of
No,
losing.
no. It's
Mike,
worked in the past.
Mike is with Evan. He takes Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I'm going to go with Jacksonville. I will not bet on a constipated quarterback.
Oh, that took a turn.
Yeah, that too, because it's Tuesdays and Thursdays. So by the time you get to Sunday, you're having
In London.
You need to poop every day.
I agree with that.
I will take Jacksonville as well. I don't like this pick though. I just Jacksonville finds a way to lose still.
Listen, not only am I taking Jacksonville, it's a lock. It's a lock. I'm really.
It's good for me because I took Jacksonville.
I just really like Trevor Lawrence. I think he's a good quarterback.
I think he played well last week,
Nah.
but they come up like a half a yard short.
I know.
It's just like
now he has a problem with touch. He's got to get a little bit more touch, but I really hope he has a good career. What a waste if Jacksonville doesn't get its act together. 1:00 on Fox, 2-5 Panthers at the 3-4 Falcons.
Falcons by 4.5. Mike has Atlanta winning and Carolina covering.
Carolina they were frisky last week.
That was it. That's their Super Bowl. They're done.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I do really wonder in Atlanta if we're going to see Desmond Ridder this year, though. I'd like to see that, but I'm going to go Falcons as well. I'll take the Panthers though against the spread. 3-point game.
Alex?
I took Falcons both ways.
Oh, I like how she has to do the Eric and look up to see who she took.
I keep it in my notes app.
Yeah, I will take Atlanta both ways too. And the Desmond Ridder thing, I find interesting. You know what's kind of hurting them is even though they don't have a good record, but that division is so bad. They could win the division.
They could have.
It's not that Mariota's playing badly. You can just tell the way they call the game that they just don't trust Mariota to do anything really,
Oh, like it was amazing.
complex.
Last week they were down like 21 points, and Mariota had attempted like 2 passes.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
But like if Tampa was having the kind of year that they should have had, and they had a 3-game lead over Atlanta now, I think that your Desmond Ridder thing would be in play for the second half of the year. But if you're Arthur Smith, winning the division matters.
It's just back-to-back years. You take Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and you
play.
just don't throw the ball,
and they work.
Mean, it's crazy.
Like, and it's not like they've been busts. They both
Right.
have shown flashes of ability.
Yeah.
I'll take Atlanta both ways.
Me too. 1 o'clock, the 3-4 Bears, coming off a huge win, are at the 5-2 Cowboys.
Despite that huge win, the Cowboys are still favored by 9.5.
Big spread.
That's a huge spread. I do like the Cowboys in this game. I think you said it was the Panthers Super Bowl last week. I think that might have been the Bears Super Bowl on Monday night. So I'm going to take the Cowboys, but that's a huge spread. So I'll take the Bears to cover that spread.
Mike took the same thing, Dallas with Chicago to cover. Alex has to look at her notes.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it, deciding if I want to go back, but I don't. I'm going to take Dallas against the spread and Dallas, well, obviously Dallas to win.
So
but
both
also,
ways.
Yeah, I'm taking Dallas both ways, too. I think they slowly worked Dak back into the mix last week. He was a little erratic. I think he'll be more comfortable this week. Short week on the road for the Bears as well.
I'll take the points. Cowboys win, but they don't cover. 1 o'clock, 4-3 Dolphins. Tua's back at the 1-5 Lions.
Miami by 3.5. Mike has Miami both ways.
This is another tough one. I'm going to take Miami too. Two is still a question mark to me outside. This is one of those, situation versus how good is the quarterback actually.
Well, they started off right, and then they didn't score another point.
Right. Well, largely because of him.
Can't,
right.
He got really erratic. He started getting loose.
That's what I'm saying.
He was very lucky he didn't throw 3 or 4 picks in
That's
that
what
game.
I'm saying.
I just don't know how you pick the Lions to win anything right now.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take Miami.
Miami, Detroit covers.
Okay, I am going to take Miami both ways. I think that they get a little of that same kind of deal. Tua's first game back. I think he was a little erratic at times. I think he's better this week. He definitely got lucky. Some of those Pittsburgh defensive backs had some plays to make that they failed.
Alex is correct. Dolphins win, but they don't cover. 1 o'clock, 3-4 Cardinals are at the 5-1 Vikings.
Vikings by 3.5.
Interesting future scouting game here for the Patriots. Both teams are on the schedule.
Mike likes Minnesota both ways.
I'm going to take the Cardinals.
Flat out.
I'm going to take the Cardinals.
Folks, as Fred likes to say, that's your upset special of the week.
Yeah.
So last week they play on Thursday night, right? And DeAndre Hopkins comes back, but it's a short week, and they don't really have an opportunity to get him acclimated.
Well, he had 10 for 103. I have him on my fantasy team.
Those are better numbers than I thought they were.
Just no touchdowns.
I'm not changing my mind now. I think that they figure it out a little bit. I still don't like the Cardinals overall, but I think they got to get some wins here soon.
I have Minnesota both ways.
Yeah, I am going to take Minnesota, but I am with Evan. I think Arizona found a little something last week, had 10 days off. They get Hopkins a little bit more up to speed. I think they cover. I wouldn't be surprised if they win outright. I think I like Evan's pick. I'm not going to go all the way. I'll middle it, but I could see an upset coming here. I think Arizona probably has as much, if not more, talent than Minnesota.
Yeah, Paul, you are correct. That's the right pick.
Minnesota with Arizona to cover.
That's right.
I also know there's some new maps in Call of Duty that came out recently, though, so that also hurts me with Kyler right now.
Okay. 1 o'clock on the 2-4 Raiders are at the 2-5 Saints.
The Raiders by 1.5.
Interesting.
I can't take the Saints.
What did Mike say?
Mike said Vegas both ways.
Yeah, I'm with Mike. I can't take the Saints right now after watching the Dalton last week. It was just...
And he's playing.
Oh, yeah.
He's starting
Yeah,
again.
Nick Underhill does a great job covering the Saints. He used to cover the Patriots.
I remember Nick.
Yeah, and he's, that's their guy right now is Andy
Yeah.
Dalton. Even, I think he said, even if everybody's healthy, they're still rolling with
Yeah, we've
Andy
used
Dalton.
Nick on the pregame show. When we,
Yeah,
I
he's
think we
great.
used him last year, matter of fact, when we played
Yeah,
the Saints.
good guy.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
Alex?
Raiders to win, Raiders to cover.
Yeah, I'm going to take the Raiders both ways. I think the Raiders are one of those teams that has a bad record that isn't a bad team.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Raiders as well. 1 o'clock, 2-5 Steelers are at the undefeated Eagles at 6-0.
Eagles by 10.5. Mike takes Philadelphia and lays the points.
The Eagles are... I think the Eagles are the most fun team to watch in the NFL right now. I love watching the Eagles. They... Offensively, they're like everything that, us new agey people that like to study the film want them to be, right? They're RPO.
For the first half,
down
anyway.
the field. Like, it's just great. It's like, okay, this is exactly athletic quarterback. Like, this is exactly what offense in 2022 is supposed to be designed like. I'm taking the Eagles. I think they even cover this because I think Pittsburgh's in trouble.
This spread scared me. I took Philly to win, but I gave the Steelers a bone. Let them cover.
I did too. I think that they'll put up a fight. I thought they played hard Sunday night on the road in Miami. I thought they had an opportunity in that game. Backdoor cover.
Yeah, the battle for Pennsylvania. I think the Sharps know what they're talking about. Eagles cover. Now we skip over the Patriots at 1 o'clock, and we go to 4:05. The 4-2 Titans are at the 1-4-1 Texans.
Titans just do it every year, don't they? They look terrible, and then they just find a way to scratch off some wins and keep themselves relevant. Tennessee by 2.5.
It's also bizarre because I don't even think their roster is that good anymore.
No, and yeah, they look like they're on their last legs with Derrick Henry too.
Right.
Tennessee both ways for Mike, by the way.
I'm going to take Tennessee both ways too. I mean, they're still better than the Texans, even if I don't think they're as good as their record indicates. But yeah, it's a wacky situation down there every single year. Maybe it's just the division. I mean, they play some cupcakes in that division.
Tennessee.
Yeah, I'll take the Titans. I liked the video of Vrabel with Ben Jones. Did you happen to see that?
Yeah.
Evidently, Ben Jones was like a
All
hair away
banged up.
from the hospital.
Yeah.
And he somehow made it through the game. And I don't know. I fall for that corny kind of football stuff. Like, it gets me.
It clearly is working in
You shed a
Tennessee.
tear?
Like
I wouldn't go as far as
Tear
say
up.
I shed a tear,
Well,
but
I'll
I
tear
like
up.
that kind of stuff. Like that resonates with me
But I
because
think
I know
think-
what these guys.
I
you
think
know.
that's where having a coach who actually played the game at that level.
Yeah, like
helps.
football. Like,
You know?
and I was going to say something stupid. Like I know what it. No, I don't know what it goes. But I just can appreciate what it takes to play a game like that.
Right.
And
Vrabel does.
and not have it physically. And Fred again articulated it better than I did. A guy who played knows what Ben Jones went through, and I think that was genuine. That was cool.
Yeah.
You like the Tennessee both ways?
Yeah, me too.
No,
Go Teen Titans.
Okay. Teen Titans go.
Is that what it goes?
Yeah.
Is that how it goes?
Close.
4:25. The 3-4 Commanders are at the 3-1 Colts.
Nobody has to watch this game. I promise. That no one's going to be upset if
See,
you don't
I
watch
gotta
it.
tell you, this is a 4:00 game.
Don't watch it.
Is that what you said?
4:25.
Yeah, I will be watching this on Red Zone for two reasons.
Yeah,
Evan.
somebody on your fantasy team.
Nope.
Oh.
No, that will not be one of the reasons.
It's not one of the reasons?
No. First of all, it's the Patriots' opponent next week is the Colts. And I don't know about you guys, but I like to try to be prepared. I like to try to
Opponent.
work. But secondly, you got a new quarterback playing. I want to see what he looks like.
Yeah.
So Sam Ellinger, somebody described him, Ben Solak, I think it was, he writes for The Ringer, described him as Jalen Hurts if Jalen Hurts was bad.
Okay.
Right, like that's sort of what we're
Sam
we're
Ellinger,
dealing
for
with
the
here.
17 years that he played for Texas, I always said to myself, this kid's a really, really good college quarterback, and there's no shame in that. He's going to be remembered forever as he was a really good.
Sounds like somebody who
I
should
don't
be
even
in
know
a
who to pick in this
low-budget
game.
Western movie.
Colts by 3, but Mike likes Washington outright.
I don't even know who to pick in this game. Washington's not starting Carson Wentz, right? It's Taylor Heineke.
It's Taylor Heineke.
All right, I'm going to take the Commanders then. I think Taylor Heineke is he's like Bailey Zappi, right? Like he's just got some energy about him.
Did you hear me say that on the radio?
Yeah, no, I didn't, but it's similar.
Someday he could be Taylor Heineke.
Right? Like it's just the energy that you get with him in there. I have more confidence in that than Sam Ehlinger.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Commanders too. The Colts piss me off.
Can we let other people pick?
Oh,
thanks. Alex?
We got to get going.
I'm going to go Washington both ways.
It's really not late.
It is.
It's not.
You have 9 minutes.
For like 3 games.
No, more.
I will take Indianapolis.
I have to do a read.
And then you have Washington?
I have Washington both ways. 425.
One of those games as to why I separate from
3
the
and
pack.
4 49ers are at the 3 and 3 Rams.
The 49ers on the road by 1.5.
Wow.
So this is the one where the
49ers own the Rams.
Own the Rams,
Yes.
except in the playoffs last year.
Correct. It's kind of like the Saints own Tampa Bay, except for in the playoff
Yeah, but
game
didn't
that
they
year.
play already this year and the
Yeah.
Rams beat them
No.
soundly?
No, other way around.
It's the other way around?
I'm taking the 49ers again. I just think the Rams are something like they have some players on there that might just be toast.
The Rams are a bad example of what I always rail against. Like, it doesn't matter how bad your offensive line is. The Rams can't win because their offensive line sucks.
Yeah.
That's because you're a Stafford,
But
apologist.
that's like I would say the same thing about Joe Burrow a couple of years. Like, you can't win like that, all the time.
Taking the Niners.
Mike took the Niners as well. Alex?
I haven't watched as much Rams as you guys have, apparently. I took the Rams both ways.
Yeah, I'm taking the Rams both ways, too. And I know that the Niners absolutely own this thing. There's something wrong with Jimmy G. He looks like a guy who didn't have any.
There's always something wrong with
But
Jimmy
he looks
G.
like a guy who didn't have any training camp. Because, oh, by the way, he didn't have any training camp.
Practiced by himself.
He just looks off to me.
I also don't. I know Debo didn't practice yesterday.
I didn't know that, but that strengthens
he's on
my
my
pick.
fantasy team. So I know Debo didn't practice yesterday. We'll see if he practices today.
Yeah, I'm going with the Rams both ways. 425, the 6-1 Dables are at the 4-3 Seahawks.
This is a great game.
Seattle by 3. Who'd had this one as one of the few games of the week involving winning teams?
Yeah.
This is a great game. I've been picking against the Giants like all year, and I've been wrong every time.
I think I'm 1-6 picking Giants.
So
games.
I don't know if I should continue to pick against the Giants because eventually it will break my way, or if I should pick the Giants and come off of it. I'm going to pick the Giants, and DK is not playing in this game for Seattle, which I think is a big difference. And I think that, look, they're 6-1. Like, they obviously got something going over there.
Yeah, Mike likes Seattle both ways.
Wow.
Without DK.
I like Seattle both ways, too. It's
gonna be
partly
wrong
just
again.
I'm so blown away by Russell Wilson not pooping that I want him to just suffer like complete misery this weekend. I want his
I know, but
old
he
team
plays
to
for
win.
Denver
I want,
now.
I know. I want his old
Well,
team
he
to
wants
win.
misery. Why don't
Yeah.
you listen? Gonna need you to listen. I'm gonna take Seattle as well. I'll just continue to be wrong with the Giants.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the Gents both ways. 820 on NBC. 3 and 4 Packers are at the 5-1 Bills.
What was thought to be a marquee game has not turned out that way. Buffalo by 10.5.
Woo!
10.5.
Wow. How the mighty have fallen.
Wow. Bills roll. Yeah, I like the Bills in this game. I like the Bills to cover. The Bills are good.
Mike does
there you
as
go.
well.
I said it. I know you guys always get on my case about that.
I have Buffalo to win. This is the biggest spread of the weekend. It freaked me out. So I have Green Bay covering.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to take Buffalo both ways because that's what I'll be rooting for when I'm watching it because I hate Aaron Rodgers.
Well, I'll be rooting for the Packers. But
Ron.
The Red-Ass McDermott's cover. 8:15 on Monday night. The 4-3 Bengals are at the 2-5 Browns.
Cincinnati by 3.5.
The Poop Bowl. I don't think either one of these teams are particularly great, honestly. But I'm going to take the Bengals.
You don't think Cincinnati's been playing better?
I think Cincinnati is this close.
You think they're close?
This close. Yeah, their defense is pretty good.
I understand they made the Super Bowl last year. I don't
think they're a Super Bowl team.
I'm not convinced about the head coach still.
I'm not either.
I still think that there's just something about that operation that seems not like a finely tuned machine.
But I do think they have a lot of talent.
I think they're much better than the Browns as well. So I'm going to take the Bengals, and I think 3.5 is kind of disrespectful, honestly. I know they're on
I
the road,
do too.
but
I think this is a lock.
yeah.
Mike likes Cincinnati both ways. Alex?
I like Cincinnati both ways.
Yeah, I will take Cincinnati, but division game, I'll take the home team getting the hook. So I'll take Cincinnati with the win and Cleveland to cover. They'll lose by a field goal. Like every other AFC North game. They're all decided by a field goal.
So both ways for me, Cincinnati. All right, now we go back to 1 o'clock, just in time. The 3 and 4 Patriots are
just so you know, you only have 5 minutes, so make this pick fast.
I have a read. I have to introduce John Rook. I have a lot of things to do.
Well, don't waste time saying
3 and 4
like that.
Patriots are at the 5 and 2 Jets.
So this game,
Patriots by 2.5.
Sorry, I jumped the gun there. This game is an old school, comes down to the trenches. Which team can protect the quarterback better?
Can't wait to watch this one.
Because both quarterbacks, statistically, are the 2 worst quarterbacks in the league while under pressure. Mac Jones and Zach Wilson. So which quarterback can be protected better? Which offensive line do you have more faith in?
Both of them are going to be missing. Well, Jets are missing several offensive linemen, but the Patriots probably going to be missing David Andrews.
Right?
Sad.
Yeah.
It is
already
truly a trenches battle. I have the Patriots 20-16. And I ultimately came to that conclusion because I still think that Zach Wilson's skill set, I don't think that he's mobile enough that that's part of the equation here.
Right. I agree.
And I still think that Bill Belichick is going to scheme it up with Zach Wilson and have Zach Wilson hand him the game. I just can't get over that. It's not Justin Fields where he's going to turn it into a track meet and run around the playground. Like, this is going to have to be an efficient game for Zach Wilson. I don't see it.
Mike is a homer, so he took the Patriots both ways as well. Alex?
I took the Patriots both ways. My score is kind of similar to Evan's too. I had 27-16.
Okay. I also like the Patriots both ways. A little bit lower scoring, 16-13. I think there'll be a lot of field goals. I agree with Evan's point. I think Zach Wilson is very mobile, but he's not a design run mobile kind of quarterback. He'll scramble for some yards and maybe avoid some sacks, but I don't see him controlling the game the way Fields was able to last week with his legs. I don't think he's that kind of player. I agree. I think he's too small to do that too.
It's Fields and Lamar, right? Like, I know week 1 was week 1, but I think I throw week 1 out because I just think it was a disaster of a start to the year. But Lamar and Justin Fields are the 2 guys that have beaten them, straight up basically.
And the
so
corpse
far.
of Aaron Rodgers did too.
Right, with that situation. Yeah.
In his only relatively productive game of the season.
Mac is full go, and the Patriots allow him to use the good plays this week. So they're going to give him
only
the good plays.
They're going to give him the good plays this week. 33-14.
Wow.
Patriots win this game.
You think he's going to turn it over more than Evan does?
33-14. Patriots win. Get back to 500, and then we'll take care of the Colts.
5 turnovers for the Jets. Predicts.
All right, listen to me. Listen, all Patriots. I'm here to tell you about NFL All Day with NFL All Day. All your favorite Patriots highlights become digital video collectibles called Moments. Not only can you buy and sell them on a secure marketplace full of thousands of NFL fans, you can also use them to compete in epic game day challenges. Check it out and find some moments from all your favorite Patriots players on NFLAllDay.com. All right, John Rook and the Playbook is up next. Pre-game social starts at 10:45. We got the game, then we got the post-game show. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Thank you for downloading this podcast. Subscribe on Apple, Google Play, and everywhere else you listen. Like the show? Please rate and review us. Listener comments and ratings help keep us high in the podcast rankings so new listeners can find us. Be sure to check Patriots.com for more news and more podcasts.
The world's original podcast.